Words Left Unsaid is a collaborative piece of literature by father and son Joel and Njabulo Sithole. The book seeks to inspire and motivate young South Africans to never lose sight of making their dreams possible, regardless of where they stand today. And to tell us more about this order to his dad that thanks him for the many lessons he absorbed from him, Njabulo is joining us now via Skype from Middelburg in Mpumalanga. Mr. Sithole, very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
A very good morning to all the viewers and yourself in studio.
Well, it's great having you, Njabulo. Let's start with talking about your relationship with your late father and how that led to writing this book.
My father was literally my best friend, my buddy, and my inspiration to all that I've done. He was an incredible man and a leader that has taught me a lot about life.
And the title of the book, Words Left Unsaid, do break down for us why you decided on this title.
The book seems to teach 5 basic things. Number 1 is to inspire as you live, impart as you learn, demonstrate as you lead, assess as you enable, and expire as you finish great. You are a person who's there to make a difference. And to make a difference, you need to understand, number 1, that you are the difference. It becomes an understanding that you are identified with the greatness that you are to live out. And everybody that has to draw from your life has to draw from it because it comes from within you first. You must discover that you are a winner before you can begin to start winning. And winning in the cause and in the purpose of your life.
Point taken there. I mean, you've touched on a very, important point, that of being a difference. I mean, you are your own difference, as you've just said, and you are the architect of your own destiny. And no matter a perfect upbringing you may have gone through, but then it all starts with you. And you started the book, Njabulo, by sharing some of the lessons taught to you by a car. Take us through that and why these lessons are so important to you.
The car spoke to me and I listened. You know, when you go to when you have your car as a whole, the various parts in there speak to you. You know, if we go down to what you call a scrapyard, you will find what you call a donor car, a runner, and an extra runner. But the thing is, a donor car is this car that has been involved in an accident that will never live again, or it is written off. Then you have what you call a runner. A runner comes to the scrapyard looking for parts, looking for alternators, engine parts. And then we have the extra runner. He comes there looking for the spoilers, the rims, and all that. But all this, remember that the runner and the extra runner will get their part from what you call the donor car. The donor car is everybody we are learning from. And we take turns as people to become donors. You know, while we live becoming runners, becoming extra runners, we become donors. Meaning, ladies and gentlemen, what the children see, the children become. John C. Maxwell says, leadership is influence. I agree. I say leadership is influence with referential experience that yields to preference. Once we know the difference, we can influence it. Once we experience the difference, we can influence that. So going back to the scrapyard, me and you will become donor cars. Donor cars that where people will be enriched by, and we will be enriched by others. You know, life gives us a 360-degree view of learning. We learn from those who are ahead of us, we learn from those who are with us, and we learn from those who are behind us. Mostly we learn from within ourselves. We learn from within ourselves. So the car spoke and I listened. Basically, it's me sitting down, analyzing the car and allowing the various parts of the car to speak to me. Remember that for a supercar to be great, when we look at a supercar needs to have a big engine. Me and you need to have big heart. For a supercar, it's not enough for it to have a big engine if it does not have big brakes. It needs to be able to stop. Me and you need to be able to stop. What is it that grabs our attention? What is it that what kind of wisdom, what kind of knowledge are we willing to stop for and listen? You know, it's one thing to be fast. It's one thing to have a great personality, a body, sharpened body. It's one thing to have everything in line. It's another to be able to stop and to take corrections, because life is not about you alone.
Has made me look at life in a much more different perspective. Thank you so much for sharing and injecting a new dynamism into how I look at life. You also decided to include a moving poem in the book that you also titled Words Left Unsaid. Why was it important for you to include this poem in the book?
it's very much important to include the poem to say that words will never cease to exist in this world. We've got words. But the thing is, are we learning from those words? Are we learning from what we are saying? Yes, there is wisdom. Yes, there is foolishness. But in line with that, what do we take? Because the influence that we grab on is the influence we are going to spread out as leaders.
Now, the book also details how your father was bitter about the absence of his own father and just how you made him realize the importance of forgiveness.
Yeah, it's very much important. I used to say, my father has had a thing of saying, if his father was available, he would have been a politician, he would have been great. I said to him one day, if your father was available, then I wouldn't have been born. I wouldn't have been born. And one thing that I want man out there to learn is that never punish the present because of yesterday, of somebody being absent yesterday. You know, he did not punish me. Instead, he groomed me into being the man that I am. I am an example. I am his gem to say he has grown a man, regardless of him not having previous reference of how fatherhood was. So in a way, he drove a car without a license. And I am this car that is great in front of you today.
All right, Njabulo, I suppose then that we need to start paying tribute to your father for imparting his wisdom into this book. I mean, for imparting his wisdom into you and then you into this book that everybody can share and indulge themselves in that kind of wisdom. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much.
That's writer and motivational speaker Njabulo Sithole. He's been speaking to us about his latest book called Words Left Unsaid, which he co-wrote with his late father, Joel Sithole. Let's take